Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of this bitterly failed attempt at picking out my 22 favorite Mages cards. If you've watched part 1, you will understand what I mean by this, but if you haven't watched part 1, I suggest that you go and look at that first, which I will link up here in the corner. Yes, I attempted and I failed, and I'm sorry, but I could not just choose one card per major. And it will likely go the same way in part 2. I decided to do this a little bit differently and bring you along in my elimination process, at least part of it. I had already done I picked out all of my favorite mages from each of my decks. Then I went through and eliminated a bunch of them, possibly half. And then I, on camera, went through the cards that were left for each card. And it ended up being such a long video that I had to stop midway. And now in part 2, we are going to continue. And so let's get cracking. All right, so the last card we looked at yesterday was the Hanged Man. And so today we start with Death. And the first big card I've got here is from the Llewellyn Tarot. And like I've said before, the artwork in the Llewellyn Tarot is just so mesmerizing and beautiful. And I do believe that this card depicts the wild hunt from the mythology. And yeah, it's just such a gorgeous picture. I had to include it because it is one of my favorite death cards. So yeah, moving on, we have the card from the death card from the Tarot of the Magical Forest, and it's just again, it cracks me up. And I think it's also really funny that the eyes of these characters in this deck just always make me a little bit I don't know, full of laughter, but also a little bit uncomfortable. But I think if you start looking at them, it looks like the Emperor and the Hierophant is standing here, kind of paralyzed by death. And I don't know, I just think it's a really good death card. The next card is from the Lucid Dreams Tarot, and this is just so gorgeous. Look at it. I love the light coming out from the face area under the hood, and I just the color scheme is very muted in this deck, but then it has this gold foil on the top of the picture of the cards, and it's just so gorgeous. And the keywords on these cards are actually quite good as well, so definitely a favorite. Next one up is from the Victorian Fairy Tarot, and this one, I must say, it might not be the prettiest card to look at, but just the meaning behind the card when you start looking at it is just so beautiful to me. Here we see a bunch of fairies standing in mourning for this dead bird that they are about to bury, and I just think it's such a beautiful sentiment, taking care of this bird as part of their family. And it's just, yeah, I really resonate with that. So and also the way that Linnea Weatherstone writes about this card really just touched me deeply. So this is and forever will be one of my favorite death cards for that. The next one up is the death of Boromir in Lord of the Rings. This is, of course, the Lord of the Rings tarot. And honestly, this card just brings so much perspective and depth to the death card for me. And again, like I said in my previous, in the first part of this video, in part 1, if you want to hear more about my deeper thoughts around this deck, I will link up here in the cards and down below the long walkthrough of this deck. I've done one long and one short walkthrough. For those who don't want to sit and listen for over an hour to my thoughts about these cards, there is also the shorter walkthrough. But anyway, such a beauty. Like again, the artwork itself might not be the most intriguing or dramatic or fascinating. It's the story behind it that really gets to me with this one, and it just one of the best death cards ever. And the next one up is from the Druidcraft Tarot, and honestly, this one is just so fantastic. I adore this card, especially artwork-wise. I love how we see a bunch of symbolism here. We have the elderly lady with her sickle at her belt, with a skull in her hands. She's got this cauldron brewing here. We've got a raven or an eagle up in the sky, a snake behind her, and then we've also got these standing stones here at the horizon. And oh, this card evokes so much emotion. I just really love this death card. Next one is the death card from the Joie de Vivre Tarot by Paulina Cassidy or Paulina Fay. And here we see death riding on a bat through this kind of time and space tunnel, kind of going to the light. And it's just such a special and unique depiction of death, in my opinion. And also the way that Paulina writes about this card is very intriguing as well. So really super interesting card for the death card in this deck. Next up in my favorite death cards is the card from the Gentle Tarot, and again, the symbolism here is just so on point, where this hermit crab has outgrown his shell and is having to leave behind his home and accept the death of this particular circumstance in order to make way for something new, a new bigger shell with more possibilities that can house his growing body. And it's just so good. So good. Next one up is from the new Lua Tarot that I still haven't really gotten to know. But as I was flipping through the majors in this deck, this one really stood out to me. It's more of a classic death with the skull and the sickle, or whatever you call that one in English. Hang on, is it called the sickle in English? I can't remember now. But anyway, I thought the sickle was the one with the shape like a half moon, and it is. But I can't for the life of me think of what the name of this is in English now. In Swedish it's lie, so there you go. But anyway, this one is just so moody and dark, and we see this bearded skull pointing towards the lightning here in the sky, and there's an obvious storm in the background. You can see all kinds of debris just blowing in the wind, and it's gorgeous and terrifying at the same time. And definitely creates quite a mood for the death card in this one. Last but not least, we have the death card from the mystical tarot of mystical moments, and this is one of the most beautiful death cards I've ever seen, to be honest, like aesthetically. It's just so dreamy and beautiful, and we get this macabre morbidity part from the exposed rib cage here, but then she's filled with these flowers, and then we've also got the symbolism of the butterfly there, and it's just gorgeous. I think that's the best word to describe it. So let's put all of the cards in the frame here and have a look at them all. Okay. So, wow. Now I'm faced with the hard choice of choosing between pretty pictures, which also are very symbolic, against the ones that has a story behind them, that gives it that fleshy, meaty meaning that I like. So yeah, this one can go, it's pretty, and this one can also go, I think. I think we'll put away this one as well. Making a choice for the rest of them, though, is going to be tricky. Do you know what? I love and adore these two in particular, and they will always be my favorites. But right now, at this point, there is one card that keeps catching my eye, that I just keep getting so drawn to, and that's this one from the Druidcraft. So yay, the first card in part 2 is following the rules. And I have just picked the Druidcraft Death as my favorite death card, together with the other ones, I'm not gonna lie, but for now, this one, yes. Next one up is number 14, the Temperance card. Alright, so first one up here is actually from a deck that I still haven't worked with, that was gifted to me by Krista over at Adventures in Metaphysics, and it's the Temperance card from the Deviant Moon Tarot. I have had such an aversion to this deck, but I decided to flip through it now for this tag, and found that I suddenly felt really drawn to a bunch of the cards in it. So I'm gonna have to pull it out and look through it again and give it a chance. This Temperance just really caught my eye because of the face. I know that Patrick Valenza draws most of his characters with this kind of half moon face kind of thing, but this particular one made me think about the duality of the Temperance card, about having to keep a balance, and how we can see this darker side of the face here and this lighter side of the face, and how one eye is wide open and one eye is nearly shut, and how that also can be read into the whole Temperance part in the card, like balancing not only, like every part of your life obviously, but balancing not only emotions, but also awareness, maybe, kind of like how you might be fully awake and aware and take in all of the things, but then sometimes you do need to rest, and you need to learn how to shut away certain things that might not benefit you. And I mean that not in a sense as in staying willfully ignorant, but in a sense of not letting certain things get to you, if you understand what I mean. And that's the thoughts that this kind of brought to mind for me, so I decided to include it. The next one up is from the Dark Mansions Tarot. The Dark Mansion Tarot, not mansions. And I don't know, she just seems so innocent and dreamy, and I just like the scenery here. I really like how she's just sitting on this little bridge, not bridge. Let me know what it's called in English now. My mind is completely blanking. But anyway, she's sitting here on this pier, maybe a pier, and this is just the kind of scenery that you would be able to see me sitting on a pier. You know, it kind of feels really idyllic and summery, and I just also really love this goofy little bird here. So I had to include this because the colors are just fantastic in this deck, and I felt like the Temperance card really spoke to me. Next up is the beautiful Temperance from the Forest of the Magical, from the Tarot of the Magical Forest, and I just love this little sheep standing here mixing her cups, and just kind of traditional Temperance, but at the same time cute and adorable, and love it. Next one is from the Victorian Fairy Tarot. You can see a lot of repeat decks in my collection, or in my selection of cards. So here we have the Temperance from the Victorian Fairy Tarot, and this one has beautiful colors at the same time as a really cool backstory. So this, I don't know if you know about the drink absinthe, but it was called the Green Fairy because it would make you hallucinate if you drank it the wrong way. And so here the story is that you need to drink it, you need to temper the drink by adding the right amount of water to it in order to drink it responsibly and to not cause any ill effects on your body. And also Temperance, you might recall, was a movement for drinking responsibly or not drinking at all, because drink was a big problem back in, well, it still is, and Temperance is kind of part of that, as in, drinking moderately. And so I thought that was a really cool way of looking at Temperance as a card. And here we see the Green Fairy tempering this glass of absinthe or chalice of absinthe with some dew water from this leaf. So really cool Temperance card, and unusual, which I really appreciate. Next up is Samwise Gamgee from the Lord of the Rings Tarot, and he was chosen for this, I believe, because he is here holding the cauldron that he uses when he makes food for Frodo while they're out and about, when they're out in their on their quest. And That's also a way of using temperance in your everyday life. He used whatever he could find around in the land to temper and create food that they could eat to keep up their energy and their strength during their quest. So Samwise, I believe, is the perfect temperance in the Lord of the Rings tarot. I adore this choice. All right, next one up is the Temperance from the Druidcraft tarot, and in the Druidcraft she is called the Ferult. Now, I am not like super familiar with this deck yet. I just know that I love this depiction of her here. Believe she is mixing milk and blood, and creating magic from tempering these two liquids. And then we also see here a rainbow in the background behind a Tor, and we also have a hagstone hanging up here or several hagstones in fact hanging up here in the ceiling. We also have another amulet up here and some sigils, and it's just overall a very magical card, and I really adore this depiction of the Temperance. Next up is from the Trionfi della Luna illustrated Pips edition, and here we have Temperance, quite a traditional Temperance with the wings and the two cups pouring from one to the other, and we've got an elephant here in the background, which I haven't really contemplated much on yet, but I just love the illustration in this deck. And honestly, this Temperance card was the first card that I pulled from the Trionfi della Luna deck, and Temperance is my card of the year, so this card automatically just got a very specific meaning for me. So yeah, that's why it's in this selection. Oh gosh, I have so many Temperance cards chosen. Next one up is from the Forest of Enchantment tarot, and here we see dwarfs busy at work in the forge, and this is also a perfect illustration for a Temperance card, because when you create swords and other things from steel, it's said that you are tempering the steel, and you are using here all of the elements in order to create these magical tools. So, and also if you look closely in this card, you can see the representations of all the elements in this magical like fog or steam that's coming up from the tempering of the steel. So we have, because in order to temper steel, you need to have fire, you need to have air to feed the fire, you need to have water to then cool the steel down, and hang on, fire, air, water, and of course, yeah, steel comes from the earth, so there you go. But anyway, it's just such a beautiful card. I adore Mirella Allwood's art overall, and I felt that this was such a unique take on the Temperance card. It just had to be part of my favorites. Next one up is from the Oak, Ash and Thorn, and this here we see a swan just weathering the storm, holding her two cups. And while I'm not too familiar with how to interpret this card, it's just so beautiful, I had to include it. I'm sorry. I feel a little bit unable to choose my favorite cards because I love a good illustration, and while that might be a little bit superficial of me, I still wanted to just show this card off because it's just so goddamn beautiful. So yeah, if you have a really nice interpretation of this card, please leave a comment down below because I would love to hear it. Next one up is from the gorgeous Gentle Tarot, and this one, oh, I mean, balance and harmony is just all in this card, isn't it? You can just feel it when you're looking at it. She's balancing on this tightrope here above the water with the sunrise or sunset, I don't really know. We've got the birds sitting on her hands, and she just looks so at peace and at ease with herself. And yeah, love everything about this card. Now, okay, now I see one of my cards have come. I put this in the wrong pile. I'm pretty sure that I eliminated this in the first round. So sorry, that one's not part of this. Okay, so the last card in the Temperance card round is this card from the Anecdotes Tarot, and I just love this depiction of this woman sitting here spinning yarn, transforming this wool into golden thread, tempering the wool into something else, and this demands presence and concentration and balance and all these things that the Temperance card is trying to instill us with. And I just again adore this artwork, so it had to be part of my final few. So decision time. Oh, why do these just keep getting more and more? So let's look at these ones here all together now. All right, so the feeling I got the moment I had laid them all down was that I could immediately kind of see which ones I actually prefer to the others. So I'm going to remove these four immediately. I'm also going to remove this one. And although it pains me, I'm going to remove this one as well. The rest of them are a bit more difficult. I will also remove the Anecdotes Tarot. The rest of them, though, oh, I cannot choose between these. They have such good stories behind them, and they all mean so much to me. So I suppose we are yet again breaking the rules. And I'm leaving all of these in. I'm going to attempt to put them in order of preference, though, if I can. I can't. No, I love them all equally. So there's that. Here are my favorite Temperance cards. Oh, please forgive me. All right. So, after Temperance comes, dun dun dun, the Devil. And yet again, we have the Llewellyn Tarot making an appearance. We have here the Horned One. And this one just gives me such, mystical, creepy forest vibes that I just had to. I adore that he's sitting there cloaked with his horns sticking out, and there's a little companion wolf, I suppose, down there. And yeah, such an evocative and moody card. I love it. The next one up is the Devil card from the Mesquite Tarot, and I love this for its simplicity. We've got this gnarly looking, evil looking hand just holding a chain, and it's just so effective. Simple but effective. Next one up is the Witch Master of Angmar from the Lord of the Rings, and again this one just evokes such emotion, and the story behind it just brings such new perspectives to the Devil. And again, like I said, I talk about this at length in my long walkthrough of the Lord of the Rings Tarot. But briefly, he was one of the 9 kings that received a ring of power from Sauron, and he was enslaved by him, and when they died they became these ring wraiths, or they were consumed by these rings and became ring wraiths, and they are basically enslaved by Sauron to do his bidding and constantly search for the ring for him, and so they are ensnared and enslaved by Sauron, the Devil, in a way that just brings a completely new level to the Devil, to be honest. And also the Witchmaster is then also the leader of the witch, the ring wraiths, and it's just I'm not going to go further into it because this video is getting long enough as it is. So, but just a really cool Devil card. The next one is from the Spacious Tarot, and I just love this. Look at this. Just the emotions, the raw emotions you get from this card is just so intense. I love this card so much for the Devil. Really, really good. Next one is the Devil from the Joie de Vivre Tarot, and here we see this scoundrel standing up top a chest that he is actually himself chained to, and he is controlling this puppet on a string, and there's also these little like heads dangling from his like jacket, and it's just there's so many things that you could grab onto and interpret in this card. And the way that Paulina Cassidy writes about the characters in this deck as well, giving them all these very quirky names that also work as keywords, it just makes this deck so unique and special, and I really wanted to include this Devil card for that reason. Next Devil that I really adore is the Devil from the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. He is so sneaky, and he's just really cool, and he's like standing there beckoning you to stray off the path and come and talk to him, and you have the choice to go talk to him or to ignore him. But he's a master of deception, and one thing that Linnea actually mentioned to me that I thought was really cool. Let me just grab a piece of paper here to show you. She actually commented on one of my videos to say that if you cover up one part of the devil's or the liar's face, then you will expose his evil, because his face is drawn differently on each side. So if you look at it, he might just look a little bit, if you look at it straight on, you kind of see as, okay, he looks a little bit sneaky, but he looks kind of more like, come here, I have a secret to tell you, kind of like a come hither look. And if you cover up one face, he looks kind of, one part of the face, he looks kind of gentle, almost a little, almost friendly. But then if you cover up the friendly part of the face, let me see if the camera will actually pick this up. If you cover up the friendly part of the face, you can see how evil he looks. And I just think that's the coolest little thing. And this was done intentionally by the artist Marela Allwood. And yeah, this card is just so cool. The next one is from the Lua Tarot that I've had a few cards from before. And like I said before, it's completely new to me. I have not even pulled a card from this deck yet. But this one caught my eye. And just caught me as a very cool looking devil, kind of drawing from the whole Greek mythology of Bacchus and the devil in that sense. And then we also have a pan, like the pan reference here with the pan flute and the furry legs. And yeah, I kind of really enjoyed that as the devil. Last but not least is the Bindweed card from the Gaian Tarot, which really it's such an evocative and emotional card. You can just see the despair and how trapped this person feels, and just brings such a new perspective to the devil. I just really adore this card. So, looking at them all at once. Okay, so going through them all and then putting them all out here, I can immediately tell you that I have two cards that are jumping out at me that I feel are definite favorites. And so we are going to remove all of these. And we have these two left. And I think I'm going to keep them both, because I feel like this one has a completely different perspective, though they both have a completely different perspective of the devil. And I can't choose. So here are my two favorite devil cards. Okay, we are not blazing through. Right, that was number 15. On to the tower, number 16. All right, so here we have quite a few tower cards as well. Ugh. I'm going to try and go a bit quicker, I promise. So here's the tower card from the Dark Mansion Tarot. I picked this card because it's a rickety old house falling apart. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the burrow from the Harry Potter series, you know, the Weasleys' home. And also, I really adore these quirky little figures falling down from the tower. One of them looks just a little bit surprised, and the other one is actually smiling as he's falling down, which I really think kind of brings a little bit of levity to the otherwise very scary tower card. The next one up does not bring any levity at all. It actually looks very, very scary with the red sky, and this is from the Gaian Tarot. So we've got a blood red sky, we've got this huge bolt of lightning setting fire to this tree, and we've got these people falling seemingly from the sky, and it's just a very emotional card, this one. Next one up is the Tower from the Spacious Tarot, and here we see a cairn. I believe it is being struck down, and a cairn is an old way of marking a path or a route, so that you know that you're on the right track on a road, and this kind of feels like a really cool depiction of a tower moment being a momentary lapse of judgment, or a momentary time, like a time of temporarily losing your way. So I really kind of enjoy this interpretation. The next one is the beautiful Tower from the Druidcraft Tarot. This one, again, classic with the lightning striking a tower and people falling down from it, but it's just such a gorgeous picture that I had to include it. Love it. The next one is from the illustrated Pips edition of the Tarot Triomphe de la Luna, and I really adore this. This is one of the alternative towers that was included with the deck that I decided to keep in the deck instead of the traditional one. And mostly I decided to bring this one in instead of the traditional one because it's got this tree on fire and this shepherd standing there being all, appalled. But mostly I wanted this card because of these devil chickens. I just adore these little creatures so much, and I just, this card brings home the feeling of the devil, but at the same time, I also have something to make me chuckle a little bit, and maybe bring me to a level of reading the card instead of focusing on all the destruction. Next up is from the Forest of Enchantment, and here is the Folly. And this one in the book, there's just such an intriguing story behind this card about this entitled merchant coming through the forest and seeing this gorgeous old tree, deciding to convert it into a house and then just abandoning it, and yeah, so this card just brings so much more meaning to a card for me when there's a story attached to it. So I really, really love this card for that. The next one up is another lightning hitting a tree, and this one is from the Oak, Ash and Thorn. Moody and emotional and just all round a gorgeous tower card with the birds fleeing their home, and love it. The next one here is from the Gentle Tarot, and this is just such a gorgeous tower card. We see here a person sitting on top of this hill in the middle of this storm, and we see here all the elements just in their power. We have the waves just coming in, we have fire in the background, we have lightning, we have a rainbow here as well, and raindrops. And this, in the middle of all of this chaos, this person is sitting here holding their flame, just holding their calm and peace and trying to conquer this just this storm raging all around them. And I just think this is such a gorgeous card. Last but not least is the fantastic tower from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. I almost gasped when I saw this the first time. It was so beautiful. You see all of this destruction happening with the tower crumbling and falling to pieces. And we see this woman just kind of embracing all of this sadness and destruction and the crumbling. And you could read so much into this card. And the artwork itself is just so emotional and so pure and raw. And I just adore this card so much. So this is going to be a tough one. Again, I've picked way too many cards to choose from. But I already kind of, by going through and talking about them to you, have a feeling of which ones I love the most. So, although looking at them now, they're all so goddamn beautiful. I mean, going on pure aesthetic, I know which ones I love the most. Going on pure emotion, I also know which ones I love the most, but they're not necessarily the same ones. So that makes it difficult. Because I also love the ones that has a story behind them that makes the card really cool. Alright, but I think I am ready to pass judgment. So we are taking these ones away. This one is also going. We're also taking this one away. And now there are 5. Okay, so I love you, devil chickens, but you're going to go, and I also love you. But compared to these others, I must put you away. And at the end, we have these three. Oh, gosh. Now, I love these 3 for various reasons. But at the same time, I feel like these 2 kind of convey the same message. Alright, so I'm going to keep one traditional, and that's going to be this one. And then I'm going to keep one. No. Do you know what? I'm going to keep all 3. Because I feel that all 3 of these can be read so differently. And I just adore all 3 of these. So these are my 3 favorite tower cards. Alright, on to the star. Now the star is among one of my favorites cards in the whole tarot deck. So along with the Hermit and Strength and the Moon and all the rest. But you know, purely based on how many cards I had chosen for each deck, I believe that the Star and the Moon and the Hermit have the most cards in their piles. So starting out here with the gorgeous Star card from the Heartspun Tarot. Honestly, this was the first card that came to mind when I thought about my favorite Star card. It's a bear, and it's so gorgeous. just look at this card and look at the face. Look at the serenity on this bear's face. I just can't with this card. I think I would actually get a tattoo of this card on my body. That's how much I love it. The next one up is again from Tarot of the Mystical Forest. Adore these sheep in this deck. I can't get enough of them. They are just so gorgeous. I love them with everything I have. They are so pretty and has all the symbology from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, so it ticks all the boxes for me. The next one is the beautiful star card from the Llewellyn Tarot. Just look at this woman just sitting there under the sky next to these standing stones and this sacred well, and just gorgeous beyond belief. Love it so much. The next one is the star card from the Victorian Fairy Tarot. I mean, come on. How gorgeous is this card? I can't describe how much I love this card as well. How am I going to choose any favorites from these? I don't know. The next one is the Pole Star from the Wildwood Tarot, and I adore this card. Just this composition of this picture is just so cool. This, you can see here actually a mini version of the Wanderer, which is the Fool in the Fool card, walking into the Wildwood, following the Pole Star, yeah, this is just gorgeous. Next one is from the Trionfo della Luna, and I included this one because this one actually threw me for a loop when I first went through this deck, and I was like, I didn't understand this star card at all. I felt it was not beautiful enough. I felt it was a bit cringy, like I couldn't understand why this bug was eating her back or why this fish was eating her foot, and I just hated it. But then I got it in a reading, and every time I've looked at it, it's just meant so much. And the symbolism of this fish and the bug, and it's just brought so much to my interpretation of the star card that it's just become one of my absolute favorite star cards now. Adore it. The next one is from the Gaian Tarot. I had to include this because it's just so gorgeous, so serene. She's sitting there holding this star-dappled water in her hands, and it's just such a pure and gorgeous card. I love it. Next one is another card from the Anecdotes Tarot, and this one honestly I think is my favorite from the whole deck. It's just so pretty. I can't say it any better. But basically this is based on like I don't know if I mentioned this in this video before, but the Anecdotes deck is based off of Joanna Newsom's music, and each card is depicted based off of one of her songs. And this card is based on a story from one of her songs about a Selkie woman, and here we see her in between her forms as she is pulling on her Selkie form and becoming a seal. And I don't know, there is something about this card that just gets me. I love it. The next one is the beautiful star card from the Guardian of the Night tarot, and there is again just something about a deer standing here with the big star at the top of his head, and then we have this bird here. It's just such a beautiful and hope-inspiring card to me, and I just love this depiction, to be honest. Last but not least is the star card from the Witch's Wisdom Tarot, which again is another deck that I haven't fully gotten to know yet. So this choice is purely just based off of aesthetics, and I'm realizing that I should not have included this card because I don't know this card as I'm talking and showing it to you. And I'm realizing that with all the cards I chose from the Lua Tarot as well. But they just spoke to me so strongly when I went through my decks. And I just felt like I need to include this at least for the elimination process, because there is something that speaks so deeply, like intuition-wise. This card just speaks so deeply to me about hope and strength and honoring yourself and communing with nature, and yeah, it just gives me the chills. So it had to be at least considered. And it will be, further explored once I get to studying the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. Alright. Trying to fit all of these gorgeous cards in. Alright. So right, I think I know. I'm gonna remove this one and this one and this one and this one. I'm also going to remove the Wildwood, the Llewellyn, I'm thinking here, I should have read about this card before I make a decision, so that I will fully understand what it's about, at least from the perspective of the creators. But the same could go for this one, since I haven't had a chance to study it yet. You know what? I love and adore each one of these cards so much, but there is only one of them that I feel, I will do like this. I will go like this. If I knew these cards better, they would be part of my absolute none other favorites. But I'm going to go with the star card from the Heartspun Tarot as my official favorite star card, with these as some kind of runners up or like second favorites. Yes, that's how I'm gonna do it. So yeah. Right. Now we only have 4 cards left, and next one is the moon. We have another pile that is quite large. So here we have the moon from the Llewellyn Tarot again. I adore this depiction of the moon so much. It's so gorgeous. I love the owl just floating above the lake, and the just the artwork in this is so breathtaking. It's just, oh, it's everything. Next one up is from the Victorian Fairy Tarot. Again, such a gorgeous card. And here we have some lunar moths as well. And this fairy just lying here dreaming amongst the flowers. And yeah, love it. Next one up is from the Dark Mansion Tarot. We've got this beautiful illusion here with the ribbon that she's holding turning into a river in the background, and then we've got this funny looking dog here, and this wolf looking thing in the background there as well, and it just looks so scrumptiously gothic and mysterious and amazing. I just can't. I love it so much. Oh, and the next one is from the Lord of the Rings Tarot. Here we've got Eowyn, and if you don't know the story behind this, you will probably not get why she is the moon card, but basically, long story short, she is not allowed by her uncle to participate and to defend Middle-earth with the men, so she decides to dress up as a man and sneak in with the army to conquer Sauron's armies, and she is badass as all hell, and she tricks everyone and saves the day, in a manner of speaking, because she manages to create this illusion around herself. And so I adore Eowyn as the moon card. She is fantastic. All right, next one up is the moon from the Druidcraft Tarot, and I just adore again Will Worthington's art. And here we have a very moody scene being depicted as the moon and as the moon card, and very traditional as well, in the sense that we have this dog and wolf howling together at the moon, and we've also got a crab here instead of a crayfish, but nonetheless very traditional. Here we've got the moon card from the Joie de Vivre. I chose this one as well because it's just such a cute card with all of these owls sitting here, and they all have their specific names, which also add to the meaning of the card, and I just adore the concept behind this deck. And overall, this depiction also really reminded me of this Swedish folk or Scandinavian folk tale about I don't know what you call him in English, because I'm sure that this folk story has been translated into English as well. But basically, there is a creature, a fey creature in Swedish folklore, Scandinavian folklore. He's called Näcken, and basically he is a young fey man, usually naked, who sits in a river, usually, or by a riverside, playing the most hauntingly beautiful tune on his violin, luring innocent people into the forest and into the river to drown them. So it just really reminded me of that, and that story just also kind of really lends itself to the moon, with the whole illusion and luring someone into where they shouldn't go, and all of that. So yeah, I really like this card. Next one up is the Moonlight, which is from the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, and I just just love these moon gazing hares and how drunk they seem to be on the moonlight and going a bit moon crazy. So yeah, this card is funny and mysterious and beautiful at the same time. Next one up is this gorgeous moon card from the Oak, Ash and Thorn. I actually have this one as a print framed here in my living room because it came with the Kickstarter bundle, and it's just the most, one of the prettiest moon cards I've seen. I mean, look at this squirrel sleeping there with the moon sliver around him. It's just gorgeous. Next moon card up is from the Gentle Tarot, and this one just gives me such empowering feelings with the woman just wading out into the sea in the moonlight and communing with nature and just being part of it. Just gorgeous. Next one up is the moon from the Lua Tarot. I chose this one to be part of the elimination, at least because I just thought it was such a funny looking moon card. I hadn't seen anything like this before. He's balancing two wolves on his arms, and it just looks so bizarre. I had to include it. And next one is the moon from the Majestic Earth Tarot. Really think this is such a moody and evocative card as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous moon card. And last but not least, here we have the moon card from the Gaian Tarot, where I really just like all the symbology here. She's clearly praying to the moon, and we've got the moon phases, and we've got some kind of depiction here in the background of maybe a moon goddess, and we also have a wolf howling at the moon, and we've got an owl just flying into the picture, and it's just such a gorgeously spiritual card, and it gives a different feel to the moon card. So, making a decision. This is going to be difficult again. I'm telling you now straight away, we are not going to end up with just one card. But we are going to reduce them. So I'm going to take away the Lua Tarot, the Majestic Earth Tarot, the Joie de Vivre, the Druid Craft is also going. Gorgeous as it is, I am going to remove the Oak, Ash and Thorn. As well as the Gentle Tarot. I'm also going to remove the Forest of Enchantment. So now we have 5 cards here. And I'm happy with these choices. And I will explain why. So I'm keeping the Gaian Tarot because it gives such a new spin to the Moon card with the Moon worship or connection to the Moon energy in a more positive light. I'm also keeping Eowyn because I love the story behind this and the perspective the new perspective it gives on the Moon card. I'm keeping the Dark Mansion Tarot because I love this depiction of the Moon card and how her head is kind of like symbolizing the moon itself and how it's creating this dreamy dream state where you don't know what's real and what's not. I love that part of this. I'm keeping the Fairy Tarot and the Llewellyn Tarot because these are just so stupidly gorgeous, and this card is just the card I thought of first when I thought about my favorite Moon card. So if I had to choose an order, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So backwards order, favorite one starting here. All right. Next one we have the Sun, and we're starting off with the Heartspun Tarot. I mean, come on, how could I not choose this? This happy lamb just dancing in the sunlight with this laughing baby-faced sun, which is, I believe, the Buddha face. But when I first saw it, I saw it as the baby face from the Teletubbies, and it's just forever going to be that for me. So, adore this card. Next one up is this sun worshipping bunny on top of the horse with the sunflowers, and this card makes me so happy, so love this. Next one up is from I forgot to say this is from the Luna Lapin Tarot. Next one is from the Victorian Fairy Tarot, yet again. I love this card. It's depicting these fairies celebrating, I believe this is the maypole, but I kind of equate this to the midsummer celebrations as well. So anyway, summer and sunshine celebration, and I love sunflowers, as you probably know already. So this card makes me super happy. Next up is the gorgeous sun card from the Anna Kay Tarot. Again, simple but effective. Large, glorious sun, sunflowers, and this gorgeous landscape. It has everything a sun card needs, in my opinion. Next one is Mary Addock Brandy Muck from Mary. Sorry. Next one is Mary from Lord of the Rings Tarot, and yes, perfect sun card. Can't say anything more. Also from the Gentle Tarot, you can see a repeat of a bunch of decks here now in these last few piles, because these decks are they just contain my favorite cards of all time, and this is no exception. The Gentle Tarot really delivers in this card. Look at this sun, the happiness, the warmth, the freedom in this card is just so inspiring. The Sun card from the Guardian of the Night Tarot really, to me, speaks about the truth aspect of this card. I like how discerning this lioness, I believe it is. Hang on. Mountain Lion, yeah. So, yeah, I love the facial expression of this mountain lion or cougar. It just and I love the way that she's like pointing to the sun as if pointing to the truth, like make sure to reveal any and disband of any illusions, like just bring out the truth to the situation. So I really love the way this card can be read. The next one up is from the Anecdotes Tarot, and I adore this depiction of the sun card. It's so pretty, it's so colorful, it's so just the colors and the artwork in this card just gets to me. So yeah, love it. Last but not least is again from the Gaian Tarot. There are so many beautiful cards in the Gaian Tarot. I kid you not. And this one I think is one of my favorites in the whole deck of the Gaian Tarot. It's just so full of joy. I can just feel her happiness, and she just exudes it. And yeah, I'm at a loss for words for how much I love this card. So yeah, I think I already know which one's going to be my favorite out of all of these, but let's put them all out anyway. Right, sunflowers are a theme for the sun card, which I love because then I get lots of sunflowers in lots of decks. I think I know. I'm gonna take these 4 away, as well as this one and this one, and we are left with these 3. And although they all kind of exude the same energy, this one also speaks to community. And I love that about this card. So we have 1 fairy card, 1 animal card, and 1 human card, and I'm happy with that. So this is my selection for my favorite sun cards. Next to last one, and it is Judgment. Right. So, the first one here is actually an odd one out because it's the only card I picked from this deck, and it is the deck from the How to Deal set, which is the mass market, nowadays out of print version of the otherwise also out of print indie deck called the Circle Tarot. That was a mouthful. But yeah, I really love this depiction of the Judgment card from the Circle Tarot / mass market version / How to Deal deck. Just how they are kind of coming out from this glowing dark forest and taking a new path through life, symbolizing a breakthrough, something, walking away from something, starting something new, leveling up, and just taking on something new entirely. And also they look like little ghosts, so they are just so cute. The next one is maybe No, I've actually included one of these before. This is from the Dennis Fairchild Tarot, and I just love this little simple depiction of the Judgment. We have here a butterfly or dragonfly of some sort holding a key. A simple, symbolic way of depicting how you have the key yourself to transform and just level up, how you have the key to your own transformation, to your own leveling up, to your own happiness. And really appreciate this little simple card. Again, I'm sorry that I'm bombarding you with cards from Lord of the Rings Tarot, but come on! This depiction of the Judgment where they are sailing off to the Undying Lands is just perfection for the Judgment card. They are leaving one world behind, shedding all of the hurt, all of the past mistakes, past tragedies, and moving on to the sunset lands, to live out their days together with the elves. And it's just such a gorgeous card. Oh, Judgment from the Spacious Tarot is also amongst one of the prettiest judgment cards I've ever seen. Again, we see this cold winter landscape here with this path leading in through this colorful rainbow portal to something else, just symbolizing how you can step through and just transcend into something different, continue your path to something else, to something great. Adore. Here we have a card from one of the only cards, no, actually the Hermit card also came through, but this card is from the Fountain Tarot. And the Judgment card here just is really emotionally evocative to me. You see here the ray of light kind of pointing upwards, and these cocooned people in these like little clarets or chalices, like sitting there, breaking out from their cocoon, like a butterfly having encased themselves in their chrysalis, and now they are rising up, breaking free and emerging something new, something more whole, something better than before. I think that's a really gorgeous depiction. Next one up is the Judgment card from the Forest of Enchantment, giving a little bit of a different view on the Judgment card. And I love that about this deck. Here we have the Council of Animals, which in this deck speaks to the council that you meet in the forest, who are judging your actions in the forest and deciding whether you are allowed to go on or not. Because while in the forest, you need to treat the forest with respect and reverence, and these creatures here in the forest are all gathered, putting all of their differences aside, to work together to keep the peace and the safety of the forest together. And in a little funny anecdote in the guidebook as well is that this is not like the permanent, like these are all representatives of their species, but that the representatives circulate. So depending on the time of year and where and who is in the council at the time the council convenes at different areas in the forest. So it's not always comprised of these specific animals. The animals circulate, and they all get it's kind of like jury duty, but for the animals in the forest, which I think is really funny. Yeah, the next one is for the Judgment from the Oak, Ash and Thorn. Again, gorgeous card symbolizing this rising up, becoming, and like shedding off of past and pain, and kind of making judgment of what needs to be removed from your life, and then rising above it and transforming yourself, which is just, yeah, gorgeous. And again, another one from the Guardian of the Night Tarot. Here we have the depiction of a snake shedding its skin, also another terrific symbol for leaving the past behind, shedding things that no longer serves you, and moving on. So yeah, gorgeous card. Which is surprising to me. I love the symbology more than I dislike snakes. So okay. I love all of these cards. And that's why they were in the selection, obviously. But how am I to choose? Right. First things first, I will remove this one. I will also remove this one, even though I really am drawn to this specific depiction of the Judgment. I just love the backstory so much from this card. This one really brings out the emotions in me, as well as this one. And then I really love the symbolism of these two. And I like the story behind this one. Okay, I'm gonna remove the Oak, Ash and Thorn again. Why am I never letting one of them stay? I'm also gonna remove the Fountain Tarot, even though it's gorgeous. Or am I? Okay, I'm taking away the Fountain Tarot very reluctantly. But I am going to keep the rest of them because I feel like they all give something different. I feel like the snake card from the Guardian of the Night perfectly depicts the whole shedding part of shedding old things to make room for new things, and leaving something behind. I love the Council of Animals because it catches us up in a different perspective of the Judgment card, where we actually look at ourselves and our actions head on in a way that we don't really see in the other cards. I love this depiction of this from the Spacious Tarot because it's just so stark and, you know, evocative. And the Lord of the Rings Tarot has just so much meaning embedded to this card just from the story alone that I can't leave it out. So these are my favorite Judgment cards. Oh my gosh, we have made it to the last card, the world card. This is another 1.5 hour video, so I apologize for taking so long, and I do not blame you if you don't watch this at all. If nobody is here to watch this end, I understand. But if you are, please comment down below with a hedgehog emoji so that I know that at least someone has seen this to the end. All right. The first world card I have in my choices is the card from the Gentle Tarot. This one just gives me such holistic vibes, living in tune with nature, with the circle of life kind of being depicted here as well, and you in the middle of it. And this is such a gorgeous card. The next one up is the World Tree from the Wildwood Tarot. Gorgeous card with lots of symbolism, and love how the World Tree also depicts each season on each of the quarters of the leaf work. And this maze down here as well is just so gorgeous. The world from the Trionfo della Luna is also one of my favorites, just because she is just so beautiful. Look at her, just in all of her voluptuousness. I love her so much. She's standing on top of the world. She's got this. She's completed her cycle. She is celebrating, and I adore her little crescent moon nipple. So yeah, adore her. She makes me happy. The next one is the World card from the Gaian Tarot, and she is another one that just makes me happy. I adore seeing elderly people in decks, because I feel like we as a society anymore, I don't feel like we are revering and respecting the wisdom of the elders anymore, not in the way that we used to or in the way that we should. We need to gain the knowledge that they have learned throughout all of their years. We need to speak to our the old elder people in our community and let them know that they are wanted and respected and revered, instead of just pushing them out of our communities, making it difficult for, I mean, I'm getting political here now, but I'm just getting so angry at the governments making it more and more difficult for older people to exist in this world, and pushing them out of the community, it feels like, as well, when they should be the people that we care about the most. I love this card so much. She is embracing Earth, Mother Earth here, and we see depictions of animals and herbs and plants, animals both from water, land, mammals and birds, and it's just the perfect world card, in my opinion. I love it. And last but not least, I also wanted to include the Guardian of the Night Tarot, because this just brings me joy. It's so sparkly and beautiful, and the bumblebee is just so funny. Actually, now when I think about it, because last night we watched Man vs. Bee on Netflix with Rowan Atkinson, and I was cringing the whole way through, because I'm one of those people who cannot stand when somebody does something stupid or embarrassing on telly. And I was just sitting there with my head in my pillow the whole time, screaming at the telly, just leave the goddamn bee alone. But anyway, this card is gorgeous, and I just wanted to include it because of that as well. So there were not that many world cards to choose from. They all even fit nicely in a row. So Oh gosh, but choosing this is going to be tough. Now I know that the Gaian Tarot's World card is staying, because you could probably sense that when I was speaking. It was evoking so much emotion in me. I love this one for the more traditional sense of the world. I love the world tree because of the more, the wildwood take on it. So, and I feel that these two kind of come across with the same message. So, I'm removing these two and keeping these three. So, henceforth, these shall be known as my favorite world cards. And there you have it, all of my favorite majors. Wow, this took such a long time, and it's going to be a real hassle to edit. Okay, oh my goodness, here we are. You made it. I made it through this massive VR that I just did. It's going to be such a pain to edit, and even a bigger pain to clean up. I have had literally all of my decks just thrown out all over the floor and on my desk, and it's going to take me at least an hour or two to put all of the cards back into their rightful decks. Yay. Why did I do this to myself? I wonder. It was so much fun though, and it feels like I've gotten even closer to my decks. I feel like I've, just going through the process of looking at the cards and just feeling the connection that I have with them, and discerning which ones speak to me the most, has been a really good thing for me to do, I feel. And I actually, as I was going through the decks, picking out all of the majors, I kept stopping at all of the minors that really speak to me, thinking, oh, I'm going to pick, this one's definitely coming with, and then I realized, oh no, it's only the majors. So, and I'm saying this hesitantly because the majors was a huge ordeal as it was, but I think I'm intending to do this for all the minors as well. Obviously then divided up into smaller chunks, because I don't know if anybody is going to watch these videos because they're so long. But if you have watched both of these videos, part 1 and part 2, from beginning to end, and you're here listening to this now, please, I already said if you've watched this whole part 2 video, comment a hedgehog. If you've watched both part 1 and part 2 all the way through, please comment a squirrel and a hedgehog so that I know you've watched it. It would just be, it's just a fun thing to do, so that I know that if anybody at all is interested in my musings for this long a time. Anyway, this was so much fun for me to make, and I will be doing it, I think, eventually for all the minors as well. I will create a different hashtag for that, unless there already is one. I don't know. I'll have to look. But anyway, this was my VR to the hashtag 22 faves, completely bending and breaking the rules. So I'm not sure what I'm going to call this this little mini series. So yeah, hashtag 22 faves, but not really. Or hashtag 22 faves, I completely failed. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching if you're still here. I really appreciate you being here. Please take care of yourselves, be well my friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!